What is up, everybody? I wanted to share with you this build that I put together, and it's for the Dark Zone, and it is absolutely awful. I started coming across fire builds lately in the Dark Zone, and I hated it so much. So I put one together myself because I want this thing to spread around like crazy so it gets nerfed into the ground. I absolutely hate this fire build so much, but to be honest, it's really fun to use. And you know, I'm gonna probably use it when I feel like it, just because it is actually fun to use. But just be warned, it's awful to deal with. You're gonna have people mad at you. They're gonna talk shit. But the basis of it is fire damage. You're gonna light people on fire, and they're going to basically not be able to do anything. They can't shoot back at you unless they blind fire, like hip fire, and they're probably gonna die. If they don't have a ton of toughness or a ton of armor, they're just going to bleed out and die, or burn out and die, and then they're going to die on the floor, never have a chance to revive or anything. It's absolutely awful. You just hit them with it and they're dead. And that's what I use, is the fire starter chem launcher. And then your other skill is your choice. I use the bleed hive. I really like the bleed hive. It's great when they push up to me. If I miss my chem launchers, if they don't die, I can drop the bleed hive at my feet and run away, or I can throw it out to them. It's really nice. It's also nice when clearing landmarks. This build is very effective in the Dark Zone, clearing landmarks as well. Any NPC that you shoot with the fire dies. And the hive helps kill everything else. It's absolutely amazing. I can't believe how effective it is. So as far as brand composition, I'm running 2-piece Wyvern. It doesn't really matter where these are. You just want to stick with yellow mod slots. But 2-piece Wyvern, it gives you skill damage for 1 piece, status effects for 2 pieces, and it's really awesome. Now, originally I was using the Acosta's Go Bag for this build, which is actually my preferred choice, but we found out that it doesn't work in PvP. And then we found out that almost every talent is not actually working in PvP as far as backpack talents go. Vigilance doesn't work, Composure doesn't work, Concussion doesn't work, Unstoppable Force doesn't work. You name it, they almost all don't work. But Shock and Awe does work. So right now, it's great because it's actually a backpack talent that works, and applying a status effect to an enemy increases total skill damage and repair by 20 seconds, or by 20% for 20 seconds. There's also the strategic alignment. It's the name China. It does the same thing, it just lasts 7 seconds longer. But since there's no explosives damage in this build, China is not really needed. So that's my backpack. I actually just got this in the Dark Zone today. Chest. You got a couple of options for chests. I originally was using Mad Bomber with the Acosta's bag. Fire grenades I use, if you didn't notice, I'm using the specialization Survivalist for fire grenades. And I was using Mad Bomber. It works really good. It is definitely a viable option. Your fire grenade radius is increased by 50%. And you can cook the grenades by holding down left click. You can make it so that when the grenade lands, if you time it right, it detonates right away. So there's no way to dodge these grenades. It's great. You can blanket an area with the fire, and the fire stays on the ground. And it's really, really useful. So you might want to look out for one of these. It might not be best in slot to wear. Depends on your play style. Another one you want to look for is the same thing, but with Unbreakable. Obviously, status effects and skill damage in all these with skill tier and skill haste for all these pieces, and Unbreakable. This pairs up really well, especially if someone in your group's wearing a Tardigrade. You get your armor back. You also get their bonus armor. It's great. The third option would be Glass Cannon. Now, Glass Cannon does increase your skill damage, but it's going to make you take a lot more damage. It's way riskier. But if you want to be the most deadly motherfucker out there, Glass Cannon is where it's at. I don't actually have a Glass Cannon version, but I'm looking for it. It's probably better to run Glass Cannon if you've got a very competent group around you, and you can be a little bit more cautious with how you play and more comfortable. But, yeah. The next things that are important is 2 pieces of Hana U. Keep in mind, you don't need Wyvern in these specific slots. You don't need Hana U in these specific slots, and you don't need Golan in these specific slots. Put them wherever you want, wherever your best pieces are. But 2-piece Hana U, 10% skill haste, and 10% skill damage. Really important. Obviously, it always rolls God roll core of skill tiers, so that's easy with all skill stuff. Status effects and skill damage. That's about it. Same thing with the knee pads. They look identical. You know, skill tier, skill damage, status effects. Done. Mask. You don't need a Golan, but I recommend putting a Golan somewhere. The problem with Golan is the core is always blue. So you're going to need to find a piece of Golan that rolls skill damage and status effects so that you can roll the core yellow. Or if you can't and you want the Golan, you can always run Technician and have one blue core giving you more toughness. And that can work well with if you run Glass Cannon. That could make up for, you know, a little bit of that toughness that you would then lose running Glass Cannon. So that is an option. But Golan adds the status effects, and it's great. From my testing, status effects and skill damage is pretty much even. I don't have the exact numbers, but they're both very, very effective at increasing the damage of the initial hit of the burn and the bleeds of the burn, or the burn ticks. And it's great. So I went off and on between what skills and talents to use and whether or not it's worth it to run this new exotic holster, the Imperial Dynasty. Because here's the problem. You lose skill damage. It always rolls status effects, hazard protection, and skill tier, which is not horrible, but you lose this skill damage, so 10%. But what it does, while you're in combat, it applies a burn to the closest enemy the closest enemy within 20 meters. And it says the cooldown is 40 seconds, but this is actually affected by your skill haste. Currently, it's already doing that. We don't need to wait for a patch for it to do that. For me, it's like every 20 seconds. So it's pretty often. And it does about, when I tested it on a normal person without hazard protection, it ticks for about 25,000, and I think it ticked like 15 times. And that's pretty cool. And I believe they were also using the survivalists, so they did have some fire immunity there, a little bit, 20%, I believe. So it's really good. It adds a few 100,000 damage, and what's really nice about it is if you're getting pushed and you need to retreat or something and someone surprises you, if they get close to you, they're going to get lit on fire. And it's pretty awesome. I wasn't that big of a fan of it, but I think I've converted and I can see the utility in this. Sure, I'm going to do a little bit less damage, and in my case, I had to lose 15% because I now have this shitty chest with only 4.7 skill damage instead of I was wearing a China chest, which didn't add anything for the brand, but it was obviously a god roll status effect skill damage. But even though I lost 15 skill damage, it's worth it for me because of the utility that this adds with being able to, you know, retreat or whatever, move or prevent an ambush. And here's the thing, is when they're on fire, they cannot aim their gun. They can only just spam shoot their gun. They have to do this shit. And they might hit you, but as you can see, the accuracy of hip fire is really bad now. All right. As far as guns go, okay, prior to today, I was running Everlasting Gaze. I actually ran it all day up until I checked my mules before making this build video. Everlasting Gaze is great. I have a really good one, and it rolled perfect perpetuation. It always does. Headshots grant 50% status effect duration and damage to the next effect you apply. It's got a 16-second cooldown. But the non-perfect version is the same amount of damage. It's just got a 20-second cooldown. And you can probably guess that the classic M1A is a better choice than the Mark 17 when it comes to dealing damage. So fortunately, I found this in my stash. I hoarded it, and it's great. It's got 14 rifle damage, max crit damage, roll damage to targets out of cover, and it's got perpetuation. So this is my gun of choice currently, so that it'll be easier to, you know, if you do need to shoot an enemy, you can shoot them. Shooting NPCs, this works really good. And the second gun is the send-off. You craft this. If you don't have the blueprint, you got to level up your what's it called? Not your specialization for the technician, but whatever it's called, where they make you do a bunch of stupid ass shit. I think tier 4 of it will unlock you the blueprint for the send-off. And the send-off has a holstered talent, perfectly rooted, while equipped and in cover. And by equipped, it just means on your body. You don't have to be holding this gun. All skill damage and healing is increased by 30% for 15 seconds. You lose it when you leave cover, and it can only happen once every 60 seconds. It's really good. So if I have my M1A in my hand and I get in cover, you can see the little target sign on the left side, and that is perfectly rooted. I don't know why it has the target sign, but that's it. And it lasts for 15 seconds with a 60-second cooldown. That's why you don't see it anymore. Another really nice thing about perpetuation is it's stored on your gun. So you can shoot something in the head and it'll never leave as long as you don't change guns. So I can pull out my skill, come back to my gun, and I still have it. As long as I don't change guns, I still have that perpetuation. So it doesn't expire. It's not like the Surge where you gotta consistently hit headshots every 8 seconds. So I highly recommend this over the Surge for this particular build. I think I covered everything about this. Now, here's the thing. Actually, that's something else. I've got a counter to this build, and I made the build today, and I'm going to release it as well today. So if you're watching this here on YouTube, there is a counter to this build, and the counter is really great. So if you're interested in that, make sure you look at my other videos and watch it. Let me show you the specialization and why this one's awesome. So we're running Survivalist. Survivalist is great. You've got fire grenades. They're amazing. They have a huge radius. You can throw them. They stay on the ground. Anything that touches them gets lit on fire, and it lasts a really long time. These grenades are amazing in PvP. They are absolutely amazing. So I highly recommend Survivalist, especially because of these fire grenades. They also come with a really nice talent here. Group members get a 10% bonus damage to targets with status effects. So anything that's on fire or bleeding is just going to get fucked up even more by your teammates. And you do get skill haste when you're in cover. It's not bad. You got to heal over time. It's not as good as the fire specialization one, the other fire one that doesn't have fire grenades, but it is good, and it also heals your teammates. And make sure you spec for rifle damage and whatever. I don't even know why I have submachine gun or LMG because I don't use them. I do have an LMG in case... Oh, never mind. Wrong build. I'm running shotgun. I guess I should spec that into shotgun, right? I guess. It doesn't really matter because I don't ever shoot anybody with it, but maybe one day I'll change it. Let me just demonstrate how this build actually works. I'm not going to show it in PvP. If you want to watch it in PvP, check me out on my stream. But I don't have any gameplay footage. My Adobe Photoshop is no longer working. And I'm just doing this all in one take. No edits. I'm a no-edit kind of guy. I know that kind of sucks because I blab on and on and on. But let me just demonstrate how awesome this build is. So we've got our perpetuation. Then we just... let's throw one grenade. Then we're going to get in cover. Shoot one of these bad boys. We could throw one of these. And, pro tips. Damn, look at that. Time to kill 7 seconds. It could have been way better. If you shoot one of these detonation things or chem launchers, double tap your skill and it ignites. I see a lot of people shooting it with bullets. Like, don't do that. You don't need to shoot it with bullets to ignite it. You don't need to do that. You just shoot it and double tap. If you triple tap like I did, it'll put it away. But as you can see here, this does some serious damage. Some serious damage. They were about to die. And it combos really well. The bleed hive. You can actually light things on fire. So if I throw this Fire grenade, watch. The damage tick's 57,000. I shoot this. It overrode it. 392,000. So it's not like some status effects where it won't let you re-status effect them if they're already on fire. The fire allows you to use it, you know, again. So it doesn't make you feel bad for, you know, being like, let's throw one of those and one of those and throw one of those over there and then throw like a hive out and then, you know, shoot some of these. Like, everything's just fucked. Everything is fucked. The build is absolute awful to deal with in the dark zone. So you're going to have a fun time really pissing people off. You really are. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's pretty much what you do, is you just, you know, use your chem launcher, aim it at the bad guys, and then double tap. Don't shoot it. Double tap. It ignites it, and they die. It does, you know, a lot of damage. Let's just look here. I had it up to 700,000 originally, but I changed to that holster, so I dropped about 50,000. In PvP and PvE, it's actually the same initial damage tick, this number here. And even if they are status effect immune to fire, they still take this damage. They will not, however, take the burn damage, which for me is 52,000 in PvP, 326,000 in PvE. It's huge amounts. If I'm clearing landmarks, all I gotta do is shoot them with one fire, and any NPC dies. They all die. The bosses almost die. It's insane. It's so insanely strong. So, yeah, I did discover a nice little counter to this build, which is I'm gonna say it's the most effective way to, you know, take this build out. But that's a different build video. So if you're interested, I'm uploading it, you know, today, right after I upload this one. So they'll be out at the same time. So don't forget to watch that. It's really important, I think, to have both of these. I do really enjoy playing this build. I've said it before, but it is awful to play against, especially someone who's good at it. I've only been using it for a few hours in the dark zone, and I've already gotten better at aiming those chem launchers and detonating them. It does take a little bit of practice because it's not the easiest thing to do, and time right with the shooting and the detonating, especially if they're moving and they know you're using it. If they're noobs and they don't know, it's really, really easy to just wipe them out. Because they'll be behind cover and you just be like, hey, what's up? And now they're dead, lying on the floor, burning to a crisp. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Don't forget to check out the other video. I'm also streaming live every day, Twitch TV/Inigo Montoya, and you can see me there. Thank you guys so much for watching.